Welcome to The Money Hour with host Tina Mitchell and co-host Keelan Harvey. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, and MLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. Now, in the studio, local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, July 27th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
And your local mortgage experts, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events in our local economy and how they will affect your money. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Great lineup for our show today. We have Claire Jones of Clarifications Coaching, LLC, empowering badass women entrepreneurs. Also in studio, we have Glenn Shemek of VFW 318 and Keller Williams Realty South Sound. Veterans of Foreign War as an agency nonprofit. Our last guest in studio is Leslie McFadden of Real Living Northwest Realtors, strategy and negotiation tips when buying in this current market. Great information, great guest in studios. For more information on any topic or to connect with the guest, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And today, I think, what do you think, Keelan? Should we start out with a little
Money chat?
Money chat.
Money.
All right, Keelan, what do you got over there today?
Well, I'm going to see if I can change your topic again this week.
What?
Yeah. Let's see if you inspire
last week
you.
I was going to talk about it, and you changed it. And
I'm on like
or
a
you
2-week
inspired me to
streak.
change. Okay, we'll see what happens.
See if we can go 3 weeks in a row here. So I was just going to talk about, I went to Vegas. So we're going and we're going personal.
Are you going to tell behind-the-scenes stories or not behind-the-scenes story?
Well, not all of them, but
Okay.
I'll tell some of the good ones.
Okay.
So Vegas, amazing place. When you go to Vegas, it changes you to a degree, and I forgot because I haven't gone in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed at the Cosmopolitan. You're in this pool. Everything looks fake. It looks like it's not even real. Like you're looking back at like the Eiffel Tower, and now they have like HD signs, which are crazy. They used to be like funny little sparkly ones. Now they're like, it looks like a giant TV and all these surreal pictures.
Yes,
and it almost looks like a fantasy land. And then we saw the Pacquiao fight, which was the most amazing thing ever. I mean, to watch 30,000 people get around two human beings boxing. I mean, I ran into Mayweather's dad, which was crazy. I mean, just all these epic events. Went to the Wynn. I mean, and just to see the extravagant level that it goes to. I was sitting down like the last day by the pool, and I was just thinking, and the thought that came to mind is about living small. Like, no matter how successful you are in life, like, it makes you feel like you're living small. Like, no matter if you're a millionaire, I mean, look around at the extravagance, the money,
Well, it is the
everything.
adult Disneyland.
It is, but you can't leave that place without just feeling empowered, like, to like double up or like triple up whatever you're doing. I mean, no matter how successful you are, because there's a bigger world out there, and there's a level farther than even maybe your imagination can see that. And I mean, every time I go back, it feels like that level gets stepped up to a degree. So I just left.
Maybe that's why companies have their motivational and fire up and get ready for the next year in Vegas, because people come back feeling like that.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. I came back thinking
Awesome.
like, what? Yeah, like we got to step it up.
Yeah.
And I would say we have a very successful business, and life is fantastic, but you can always go bigger.
I love that. Okay, you did give an inspiration there, so I'll have to save our investor fix and hold for, as a listener, you maybe think if you're a regular listener, this is like 4 weeks or this is our third week in a row. It really is just, we kind of just randomly do our own thing for Money Chat. And sometimes I always have Keelan go first just because it's the considerate thing to do.
Oh.
And then, sometimes he says things that just inspires me to go off track of what I originally was planning for. So I will bring in the fix and hold because it's awesome. But if you're really wondering what it is, just give us a call at the show, 1-855-400-1150. But Keelan, you're so right. Is, really in life, I think what I try to do is I try to envision as big as I can with no limitations. And but sometimes even in your dreams, and you go through this growing up, your dream as a child is so big, but it really isn't that big. It's a big as a child big would be, and then you get to be an adult and it starts. So I love that, Keelan, because that's so true. If you can just continue to extend a little bit more and don't get stuck, because I think what the people do when you're visualizing and dreaming sometimes can really get stuck in, how could I ever do this? How is this possible for me? And that's where it can be devastating in dreaming big. If you can't get over that hurdle first, then dream what you can believe you can do. Because dreaming big, if you are going to worry about all of the stuff in the middle and how you're going to get there, it's actually going to be devastating to your success in life. So you have to start where you're at right now. But my advice to you is don't worry about anything in the middle. Have one small step that you're going to take. And, those of the regular listeners know that I have a coaching program, my One Time Your Business 8-week burn. By the way, it's complimentary. So just go online, onetimeyourbusiness.com. 8-week course. It's virtual live. You get to hang out with me. It's a powerful 8 weeks. But one of the mind shifts in One Time in Your Business, the first mind shift is rejoicing in your small successes. It's about taking one small step. And as you complete that step, rejoice in that small step, because it's the small steps that are going to get you to the big changes that you want. Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years for it to break ground. When it breaks ground, it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. But if the farmer stopped fertilizing and watering the bamboo tree would have died. And so it's the same thing. The bamboo tree represents our life. It represents our business. So get out there and water and fertilize your bamboo tree, your dream. Rejoice in the small successes. Dream really big. Just like Keelan said, you look at Vegas and go, my gosh, this is just massive. So Keelan, that's great money chat.
Well, I'm glad 3 weeks in a row I could change your mind.
I love it. All righty. Well, I guess it's time to get to what the show is really about, and that is our amazing guest. Coming up next to the Money Hour, empowering badass women entrepreneurs. I could say that quite a few times in a row. Claire Jones of Clarifications Coaching, LLC, right here at 1150 AM, KKNW, after the short break.
Are you the woman who constantly breaks the mold? The one who tries to do everything and gets herself in trouble? The one who says, I'll do it myself and nothing will stand in my way? You're in good company. Claire Jones with Clarifications Coaching helps women entrepreneurs just like you find the clarity and the right strategy to move their businesses forward with her Badass Business Program. Claire Jones is a certified leadership coach and business consultant who uses the latest neuroscientific research to empower badass women to become even more extraordinary.
This is Claire Jones with Clarifications Coaching. To sign up for your free 30-minute consult, email me at info@clarificationscoaching.com or visit my website at clarificationscoaching.com. Once again, that is clarificationscoaching.com.
Do you want to buy a home? Are you selling your home for the first time? Are you afraid you won't receive the value and you don't know where to start? Glenn Schmeck with Keller Williams Realty South Sound offers free first-time home buyer and first-time home seller classes and consultations at your convenience. Glenn practices realty with Keller Williams Real Estate, and they are ranked #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power and Associates.
Hi, this is Glenn Schmeck with Keller Williams Realty South Sound. To learn more about my classes or get a consultation, call or text me 360-227-9749. Again, that's Glenn at 360-227-9749.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 27th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
It is a great day to talk about money. That's what the show is all about, how to make money, save money so that you can have a better quality of life for you and your family. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We're here to answer you any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, we have Claire Jones of Clarifying Coaching, LLC, empowering badass women entrepreneurs. Claire, thank you so much for coming back in studio.
Yes, thank you for having me. I enjoy being here. It's
Awesome. A little bit about Claire. Claire is a certified leadership coach and business consultant. Her mission is to use the latest neurologic scientific research to help women entrepreneurs find and clarify and the right strategy to move their business forward with her Badass Business program. She works with clients side by side to create a completely customized program that will up-level their businesses and lives so that they know what is most important, what to do next, how to break up the action steps, and what habits will help them get there. Again, Claire, thank you so much for joining us in studio.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Claire, you have my favorite title ever, like empowering badass women entrepreneurs. Who doesn't
Love
want to
it.
be a badass? It's like straight to the point.
Right?
Be a badass.
And that's coming from a guy.
Yeah, I love it. That's
I mean, we
awesome.
need more badass women out there, honestly.
Well, we really need some badass guys out there too,
That's
to
true.
be honest.
That's
I'm
true.
not gonna, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I'm all here for all badass people.
I love it. I love it. So, what the heck you been doing since we saw you last?
It's been pretty exciting. Most of July has actually been spent gearing up for a networking conference that is next week in Dallas, and they chose me as a finalist for their Emerging Leader of the Year award.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm super excited, and I've just been really getting busy trying to get everything set up to ready and go. I've also been through a rebranding process since I realized that because I come from an academic background, I've been creating a lot of my content with very academic language. And that kind of confuses people sometimes when I talk about what I do. So my branding coach basically was like, well, you need to reframe the way you talk about what you do.
Yeah.
And so now when I write content, instead of easily going down the rabbit hole of explaining it academically, she's been encouraging me to bring a lot more emotion to the forefront and
Yeah,
really
motion and story.
a story to explain the why behind what
Yes.
I'm doing. So it's been a very fascinating process.
I love that. I'm so excited to hear you say that. And this is why it's so important for even coaches to have coaches because you're a coach and an expert in a certain area.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a coach, you kind of feel that you know it all, but you really don't. You know your space, but
Yes.
even that, you don't know how to communicate your space the best that you can to everybody else. So you have to understand how to bring that in. So I really love that. So let's talk about what that process looks like.
It's really been a matter of owning my hero's journey. And that
Okay.
means owning my vulnerabilities and insecurities and my perceived failures that I've had throughout my life and actually really owning the challenges. And that's a really radical shift for me because before I was afraid to show that I was weak or lacking in a certain area. Like you said, we each have our zone of genius when it comes to coaching or whatever we do in our business. And that's something that I was lacking in, and I didn't really want to admit that. So this whole process has been about owning that vulnerability, and I recently came across the phrase, vulnerability makes you irresistible, and I'm really trying to incorporate that into my work and into my life.
That's awesome. We have a lot of great coaches, and they all talk about accountability and owning your story, and it takes a lot of courage to do that. So I congratulate you on that because that's a huge step for anybody.
Yeah.
Some people never do it just because they can't face themselves as their worst enemy sometimes is that person
Yeah,
that
it
you
was
don't want to face.
15 years of my career before anybody knew my story. You
Yeah.
know, and it was not only do you not want to tell it, but you want to hide it. Embarrassed thinking that somebody might not want to work with you because of. So,
And what a shame because
and now I tell everybody I was in speech therapy and I don't know how to read very well or spell. And, it is what it is. I had to pick up your bio. It's because that word's going to be challenging and I know it. So I'm just going to have to wait and do it after studio. So it is what it is. Nobody is perfect. We all have our own challenges in life. And you embrace your strengths and you embrace your weaknesses as well, and you just figure it out. So,
And nobody'd ever know that unless you said something, because you're a rock star. You just go out. I mean, first time I saw you in studio, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to keep up with that?
thanks, Keelan.
Anyway, so
Right back at you.
How did that impact your business once you kind of took those steps?
Well, during the branding process, we realized that my target audience was actually frustrated women entrepreneurs. Before that, I had been targeting any woman who was in a career transition. But I realized that I really felt for women entrepreneurs in particular because that was me. I understand them because I've totally been there. I know what it's like to be a woman entrepreneur, especially a frustrated woman entrepreneur. And so I know what it's like to have this grand vision and try to build a business around it, but end up feeling like you're moving through mud, not really getting anywhere.
Yeah. So, Claire, what struggles have you personally faced as a female entrepreneur?
Well, I've definitely struggled with the Wonder Woman syndrome, feeling like I need to do everything by myself for everyone. And it's been kind of a process getting over that because I found myself completely exhausted. I found myself burnt out trying to live up to other people's expectations.
Yeah.
And that's not a place that you want to be in, really. And I didn't realize that I needed to take care of myself in order to be a better business leader.
Yeah, and one of my professional core practices is embrace your strengths and hire out your weaknesses. There is only so much time in the day. You can't make more time, but you can make more of the time that you have. And you've got to focus on the things that you're great at and mastering those instead of wasting valuable time trying to get better at things that are your weaknesses. So true.
Or hiring out your weaknesses. That comes from you too.
I'm good at hiring out. Yes, I am.
So what was the turning point for you, Claire? When did that turn?
It was actually discovering the NeuroLeadership Institute's research that was my aha moment, which we touched on last time I was here. Up until that point, I had been absolutely miserable. I was coming out of closing down my first business, and I found myself at age 26 burnt out and on food stamps for the second time in 4 years. It was a really dark time. I was a cum laude college graduate who was unable to pay the bills and closing down a business that had drained my bank accounts even further. So I was living by myself, eating rice and beans for dinner, feeling lonely, depressed, and worthless. It's not a good place to be in.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel valuable. I didn't have strong social support networks, and I wasn't taking care of myself. So I found that NeuroLeadership Institute, and a light bulb went on, and I soon found myself reading their 600-page research textbook in my free time for fun because I was learning about how our brains actually worked. You know, what biases influence us, how individual sensitivities affect your communication and motivation styles, what habits and mindsets help or harm us, and how to balance your life to achieve optimal brain health. So I realized that these concepts were actually integral parts to succeeding as a business leader. And they've literally seen in the brain using fMRI techniques that self-worth, social connections, and self-care are essential to that.
Yeah, and I always talk about tragedy to triumph, and this is another example of many that you were in a tragic scenario, and because of that tragic life journey you were in, the triumph was it put you exactly where you needed to be to learn what you needed to learn to now be the person that you are so that you can give back to the community. And, it's just a beautiful thing. So outside of that, what other tools assisted you?
Well, they have this very handy framework called the Healthy Mind Platter, and it totally changed my life. So while conducting their research, the Institute found that in today's work environments, success no longer depends on muscle power like it did in previous generations. Instead, success is built with brain power nowadays. And so they created a framework that represented an ideal diet for your brain, basically 7 areas of your life that should be balanced for optimal brain health. And many people are unfortunately unaware of the costs of an unhealthy mental diet, such as massive losses in productivity, exhaustion, burnout, and stress. And we might be stumbling from one activity to the next, driven by the needs of the brain without any level of awareness of why this chain of events is happening. So you might even return home at night, I know I have, believing that you have a productive day without realizing that we are irritable, not because our significant other is being unreasonable, but because we are mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
A lot of people fall into that trap because they unintentionally end up in this space without realizing how they got there. And so the Healthy Mind Platter covers areas like focus time, downtime, time in, physical time, sleep time, play time, and connecting time, so that you can get a good bird's eye view on how your life is balanced between all of those activities that contribute to brain health.
Yeah, so true. I coach on time management, and I say the biggest time waster is emotional stress. Emotional stress attached to things that are not done at a high efficiency level.
Yeah.
So you just broke it down.
Claire, how do you incorporate those frameworks into your coaching specifically?
Well, through working with my branding coach, I realized that I could combine my NeuroLeadership and Wellness coaching with business development support to create a much more robust program for my clients because, shocker, they're all related.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I can offer a comprehensive program because in order to become an effective and productive business leader, you have to understand the skill sets required as well as create a sustainable work-life balance for yourself to make sure you don't burn out in the process.
Yeah. So, Claire, what's your program look like now?
Well, I created a completely customizable badass business program where we address where you're stuck in your business and how to move on with your bad self and become even more extraordinary. Some of my clients need more business development support. Some want more coaching and mindset support. So I tailor the program to fit their needs while still interweaving all of the juicy neuroleadership frameworks.
Yeah.
I love how
It's like you put some. Well, go ahead.
No,
Keelan.
go.
I was going to say I love the word juicy, but I like the technical mixed in with the juicy.
Yeah.
Because technical lets you know you need that balance of facts and story, and you've got to have the facts. I mean, where is this coming from? Why what you say is right? So having that fact side of it, and then bringing in the juicy story combined together, is the magic.
I love how you use all these words too. I can tell how that turns.
See, that's what I was just saying.
Like bad,
but
badass, your bad self. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm
but
talking
she's got
about.
the technical side in there as well,
She
which
does.
is like, okay, well, that makes sense because here is the proof side of it. So it's having that balance.
We got the science there too to being a badass. I love it.
Exactly.
The science to being a badass. I
Science
love
to be a
it.
badass.
So tell us about the process. What's that like?
Well, we start by doing a free consult and questionnaire to really drill down into what's stopping you in your business. And then we figure out, is it social media profile setup? Is it marketing strategy? Is it managing teams and leading people? Or is it work-life balance? And then I can create a program based on what you need, and we dive on in.
So if we had a listener listening today who wants to sign up for your program, how do they do that?
Well, you can either go to my website and book the consult through there, or just email me for availability, and we can set it up.
Wonderful, Claire. Thank you so much for coming back in studio. Really appreciate it. Lots
Totally.
of fun
Thank you.
interviewing you.
Thank you.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, we have Veterans of Foreign War as an agency nonprofit. Glenn Schmeck of VFW 318, also with Keller Williams Realty South Sound, right here at 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.
Do you want to buy a home? Are you selling your home for the first time? Are you afraid you won't receive the value and you don't know where to start? Glenn Schmeck with Keller Williams Realty South Sound offers free first-time home buyer and first-time home seller classes and consultations at your convenience. Glenn practices realty with Keller Williams Real Estate, and they are ranked #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power and Associates.
Hi, this is Glenn Schmeck with Keller Williams Realty South Sound. To learn more about my classes or get a consultation, call or text me 360-227-9749. Again, that's Glenn at 360-227-9749.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 27th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and 1 show at a time. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. But we are here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio for the first time, we have Glenn Schmeck of VFW 318. He's also a realtor with Keller Williams Realty South Sound. And we're going to be talking about Veterans of Foreign War as an agency nonprofit. Glenn, so excited to have a conversation with you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me and let me represent my brothers and sisters. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Born and raised in Renton, Washington, Glenn graduated from Renton High School. He enjoyed baseball and soccer. At the age of 11, he won the state Coca-Cola Skills Championship. Joining the Washington State National Guard at 18, Glenn did well and earned Sergeant Non-Commissioned Officer with 4 years before joining the active Army, a total service of 29 years. He served in Desert Storm Shield in 1990, Bosnia with NATO 1997, OIF 6 and 7, 2006, 2008, and his awards include 2 Bronze Stars and 2 Meritorious Service Medals and multiple 2 humanitarian awards for his service in and outside of uniform. He started service as a mechanic and a private, finishing his military career as a chief warrant officer. And Glenn also sells real estate with Keller Williams.
I got to start out with how I met Glenn, and he had a special place in my heart. You can hear his passion for, as a veteran, we have a special place in our heart for veterans. Yeah. Our company does as well. We give $5 of every loan that we do, and we do a lot of loans.
We should have worn our shirts today.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Folds of honor.
Because Leslie she's served the country as well, our next guest.
What? We failed on that one.
Yeah. Anyways, go
ahead. Sorry. So, I mean, you can feel his passion and for, his brothers and sisters. And I know that bond you guys have. And I just felt like we had to have him and his story and on our show. So, Glenn, can you tell us a little bit, what is the Veterans of Foreign War?
Well, the Veterans of Foreign War is a corporation that is based on fraternal, patriotic, historical, charitable, and educational reasons to preserve and strengthen camaraderie among our members and assist worthy comrades. Basically, nobody does more for veterans than the VFW.
Yeah, so let's talk about, Glenn, what do they do for veterans?
Well, we're advocates. We don't wait for something to occur. We're on the Congressional Hill every day fighting for veterans' rights. One specific issue with more women, badass women serving in the military, we've got to represent those women's rights.
Yeah.
So, Glenn, who are veterans of the VFW? There are people in your community just like you and me that decided to go and serve. Some of them are still actively serving, whether they're the active duty, reserve component, or whatever. There are people that are still serving today, like myself. The VFW is not the end, or not the beginning or the end of anything. My example is I've often been thanked for my military service, but I'm not done. The VFW is my way of giving back to everybody that served, whether they're currently still in or they're going to get out later. I want to make sure that they're all taken care of.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So awesome. Glenn, what about your own accomplishments? Let's talk about that today.
Oh, my. Honestly, I don't want this to be anything about me.
Well, we got to put a little bit in about you.
Well, I appreciate that. I would just say that I served about 30 years in the military. I started out in the Washington State National Guard, born here in Renton, and I love soccer. My nephew plays for the Tacoma Stars Reserves, and I couldn't be prouder of my family and my vets. And honestly, I'm just a guy trying to serve my family, my country.
Well, and I listed some of your accomplishments in your bio, so yeah.
I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Veteran and a soccer fan. He's got a special place in my heart. I was a semi-pro soccer player indoor too. We didn't talk about that because veterans are much more important. So, what are your current advocacy programs that you guys are doing down there at the VFW?
Right now, what we're doing down at the hall and every local post is doing is we do a couple of essays with the local schools. The Voice of Democracy and the Patriot Pen. Junior high and high schools get the opportunity to go and earn scholarship funds and earn awards and go up to the national level. This is pretty awesome. I only get to represent my district. But if you're interested in this, every VFW hall offers this in your area. You just don't know they're there. That's just our local community grassroots aspects. In the meantime, like I said, we're working on continuing the rights of all service members. We don't wait, I said, to hear that things are changing. Grassroots efforts, lobbying efforts, located in communities across the globe. This group works to inform and educate veterans and service members on initiatives and policies that affect them and take place. We were huge in getting the GI Bill updated and changed as well.
That's fantastic.
So, Glenn, what is happening at your post?
In my post, we're turning 100 years old. And with
Wow,
that,
congratulations, 100 years.
Considering that the VFW in general is only about 120 years old, that's a major accomplishment.
No kidding.
And I got to give a shout out right now to a badass woman. Our commander, Amy Buckley, is the first female commander of VFW 318. She has resided for year 98, and 99 will take us into our 100th year. And the reason she can't be here today is she's off winning all state awards at nationals for us today. Otherwise, I would have brought her and had her sit here. She's a whole lot more entertaining than I am.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, you'll have to definitely connect us with her, and we'll extend an invite for her to come into studio as well.
I'd appreciate that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Isn't your post like the oldest one in the VFW that you're at? Is Olympia, right? Isn't it like the oldest one in the West Coast or something?
I don't know about the West Coast. We're definitely one of the oldest in Washington State. That's a fact.
Wow, that's fantastic.
We're also doing a car show coming up here August 24th. Early entries are $20, $25 if you come in later. And this is going to help us raise money for a big hoorah that
So
we're
that's
doing.
your event that's coming up?
Yes.
Yes. Alex.
Absolutely.
And when is that?
August 24th.
Okay.
There's going to be awards, and there's going to be hot dogs, hamburgers. We're going to have a big deal going down here, and this is how we raise funds. We can't reach outside our geographical area. So we're going to use these funds to do a big hoorah on November 8th of 2019. That's our birthday. We turn 100.
Yeah. So how are you financing these events?
It's all a nonprofit. Buddy Poppy's membership, the annual car show. We go down to Lake Fair in Olympia there, strawberry shortcake. We got a lot of folks that cook really, really well. I'm not one of them.
That's so awesome. It's just whatever it takes for you guys to get out and raise money and just help our veterans. You guys are just grassroots everywhere. That's so cool. What other things are you guys doing as far as community advocates? Do you have any other examples?
As I said, we're doing the essays, but we're just out there every day. As an example, as a realtor, I had an opportunity to help one of our widows of one of our vets. They had a leaking roof. So I was able to reach out to other people in my community and resource some of those skills that I have and find a contractor that was able to economically repair that roof. Amy Buckley, our commander, performed CPR on one of our old commanders and saved his life about 3 months ago.
Wow.
We're literally out there every day, whether it's feeding, assisting, disabled, you name it. And we're dependent on ourselves to get all this done.
Yeah. Well, I know we're here to talk about VFW today, and for the Veterans Foreign War. But I really want to bring your real estate side in because you are an agent with Keller Williams. Yes. And, I really believe as a business professional, really finding a place that we can focus on our uniqueness. And we talked about that with our first guest today. And obviously, you've got to just be a killer agent to veterans because you are a veteran. They are your brothers and your sisters, and you know what they're going through. And the VA financing that's available for vets is unbelievable. So do you have an opportunity in your real estate business that you're able to help a lot of veterans get into their home and sell their homes?
Absolutely. It was fairly easy for me to get my military relocation professional certification. I pretty much took the class, and it was pretty simple for me. One thing that I've been able to bring to the table is a lot of people have heard of short sales, but not a lot of people have heard of a compromise sale. And this is something that's offered solely to veterans, that if they have to sell their home for less money than to clear the actual note from the bank, this is the way that they can do this. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. This happens to our veterans sometimes. They relocate, they buy a house, and then they come down on orders through no fault of their own, get relocated, and they can't make the note for the bank or sell it for what they need to. So a compromise sale is one availability tool that not a lot of people are aware of, that I'm happy to bring to veterans. I know what it's like to be in that situation.
Yeah, so if you're a veteran listening to the show, or a family member that's a veteran looking at home ownership, connecting with somebody that is your own is a really great opportunity. So you can always call the show, 1-855-400-1150, or go online at themoneyhour.com, and we'll connect you with Glenn.
Glenn, I'm curious about that. What's the difference between a compromise sale and a short sale? I mean, besides being a veteran, what advantages are that for veterans?
Well, when a vet buys a home on a VA, they use their eligibility. That eligibility is used unless it's capped. You might be able to use it twice. It depends on the geographical location. Let's say, an example, they are capped, and they can't sell it for what it's worth. What happens is the government covers the loan, and then the vet owes the remaining amount, whether that's $5,000, $2,000, whatever. And through that, they buy back their eligibility, and they're able to reuse their VA loan. A lot of people are under this impression the VA loan is a one-time thing. And it is certainly not.
Nope, it's not. You're going to pay a little higher fee for the funding fee, but it's, as long as you take care of your existing one. And it's the only downside in our market, so you can speak on this more, Glenn, because you're in the real estate space. I'm in the financing space, or Keelan and I are. But the loan is such a great loan, better interest rates, no monthly mortgage insurance. There is a funding fee, but it's going to be less than the monthly mortgage insurance is going to be. And you're probably at least 0.25% lower in the interest rate. It's not credit score driven for interest rate unless you're really low credit score, which means you're not going to get that high ding if you don't have perfect credit like you would on a conventional loan. But getting your offer accepted is just challenging in this market if you're competing up against a conventional buyer. So have you found that to be the case, or are you working with buyers more? Well, you work on the South Sound, so it's a little bit easier market. I'm coming over here on the East Side, so never mind. I just answered my own question. Probably a little bit easier. Yeah. So anyways, let's wrap this up here with I think a really important question. Glenn, what would you say is the most urgent issue for the VFW?
Well, for all veterans, veteran and service member suicide is a huge and crucial issue that everybody, in my opinion, in this country, this should be a nationwide advocacy. We have a lot of veterans that are committing suicide at alarming rates. They're homeless, they're jobless, and they protected us, and that's part of what the VFW does. We want to go out and protect those folks. Call the crisis hotline, contact your local VFW. You may not even be a veteran, but a veteran that is suffering or whatever, you can still come to us. You can still call that crisis hotline. We do that. We had somebody walk into our post just the other day whose father was ill and didn't know how to get the VA benefits that this individual deserved and earned, and we were able to support that. So let's reach out to our communities. These service members, they need our help. They need our appreciation. We need to protect those that protected us.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Glenn, thank you so much. What a special edition for the show, having you here. And it's amazing that you're able to give back to something that you're so passionate about, because you're part of, you've been through that and part of it. And of course, thank you for serving our country as well. So thank you, Glenn.
Can I just say, Mighty 318. Thank
Mighty
you.
318. Love that. And on that note, coming up next in the Money Hour, strategies and negotiation tips when buying in the current market. Leslie McFadden of Real Living Northwest Realtors, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, after the short break.
Do you want to buy a home? Are you selling your home for the first time? Are you afraid you won't receive the value and you don't know where to start? Glenn Schmeck with Keller Williams Realty South Sound offers free first-time home buyer and first-time home seller classes and consultations at your convenience. Glenn practices realty with Keller Williams Real Estate, and they are ranked #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power and Associates.
Hi, this is Glenn Schmeck with Keller Williams Realty South Sound. To learn more about my classes or get a consultation, call or text me 360-227-9749. Again, that's Glenn at 360-227-9749.
Are you the woman who constantly breaks the mold? The one who tries to do everything and gets herself in trouble? The one who says, I'll do it myself and nothing will stand in my way? You're in good company. Claire Jones with Clarifications Coaching helps women entrepreneurs just like you find the clarity and the right strategy to move their businesses forward with her Badass Business Program. Claire Jones is a certified leadership coach and business consultant who uses the latest neuroscientific research to empower badass women to become even more extraordinary.
This is Claire Jones with Clarifications Coaching. To sign up for your free 30-minute consult, email me at info@clarificationscoaching.com or visit my website at clarificationscoaching.com. Once again, that is clarificationscoaching.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, July 27th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts. We bring into studio each week the best of the best and experts in all areas regarding your money. We're here to help you build a strong financial blueprint. And if you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, we have Leslie McFadden of Real Living Northwest Realtors. And we're going to be talking about strategies and negotiation tips when buying in the current market. Leslie, thank you so much for coming back in studio.
Yes, I love being back. Thank you.
Yes, and a little bit about Leslie. Leslie is an Austin, Texas native where she attended Texas State University and served as a logistics specialist in the U.S. Army. Based at Fort Hood, after her military service, she spent 9 years in corporate interior design and sales, fields where excelling in customer service was an absolute top priority. Leslie became a realtor in 2005. She has built her success on the principles she learned from her experience, then grew in on the foundation of satisfied clients and referral. Along with her husband, Kevin, she recently managed a real estate team of 5 in Columbus, Ohio, one of the fastest growing real estate markets in the Midwest. In 2016, we were blessed to get Leslie and Kevin here. They made a decision to expand their business by entering the greater Seattle market by recruiting a partner to handle their Ohio client base. They have been able to capitalize in both geographies. Today, they live in Bothell, truly enjoying the North Shore communities to the fullest. And I will say, definitely, because I see on Facebook post of, all the hiking that you and Kevin do. And so, yeah, I know that you guys just love Seattle. So thanks again, Leslie, for coming back.
You're very welcome.
So I love that you use the word strategy along with negotiation, Leslie. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anything in your life that affects your investments needs a strategic plan. I'm certified in negotiation, and I find that when we educate our buyers on how to strategize alongside us, it really is a recipe for success.
So, Leslie, how do you prep your buyer clients for what is to come?
Okay. Well, our first and foremost priority on our team is to make sure our buyer is confident in their buying ability. You and I talk about that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
This means everything from knowing what their credit score can do for them to what their ceiling would be based on what payment they would like to have. All of our buyers go through an initial buyer counseling session with me at our office before we even ever go look at properties.
Yeah, and you mentioned the payment, which is so critically important because it doesn't matter what you're going to approve for. You're going to have to make that actual mortgage payment, and so the key thing is what's your target price. What is it going to take you to get into the neighborhood that you want to get into? What is the maximum payment that you're willing to pay, and then what can you approve for? And then you put all those together and figure out where are you willing to adjust in that area. So critically important.
Absolutely. And you also find a lot of people being pre-approved for more than they can actually
so much more
want to afford.
I mean, all day long, you can approve at a 49% debt to income ratio based on gross income, not
That's
even what
scary.
you take home. It's a little scary.
What does your buyer counseling sessions look like, Leslie?
Well, this is a 1-hour meeting that's focused solely on getting ready to buy and what to expect. It's my way of working out the kinks on the front end with the buyer and kind of, it's a very stressful process and a lot of people are nervous about it. So sitting down and just having a conversation and getting to know each other kind of breaks that ice. I start with a professional introduction of myself and the team to set the tone. And then I review all of the different costs that are associated with the purchase. We also discuss the pre-approval process, and we want to know exactly where they are in that process. And, with Tina being one of my referral partners, if
You're
I need
the referral partner, right?
I'm sorry, the referral partner.
All right.
Had to clarify.
I just like to know where they are in that pre-approval process because I meet people in all different situations and scenarios, so you can never tell if they've got that already in their life or if they need help with a referral partner. And then we finish up just talking about what I'm seeing in the current market because I feel like my advice is relevant because I am in the trenches every single day working in different parts of the city. So I like to let them know kind of what I'm seeing just so that they can get an idea of what to expect. And then we talk about their wants and needs, timeline, and then answer any questions that they may have.
Yeah, so it's really a detailed breakdown of the entire process, what it looks like. So after that time that you've spent with them, they have a clear idea, specific and unique to what they want to do, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Leslie, I mean, depending on what area that you're in, but a lot of the areas that we work in, and I think coming new into the market, buyers may not realize this. There is still a lot of multiple offers going on. We're definitely in a seller's market. We are not in a buyer's market, and we're not in a balanced market yet. Yes, it is much better than what it was,
Right.
a lot, but it's still not balanced. And so are you having that conversation around multiple offers?
I still am because being certified in relocation, I sell all over the city. So I have kind of a 2-hour radius. So parts of the city are still experiencing that.
Yes.
And there's still different tactics that, you can use in order to be successful and not just have to pay the most money for the house. So I do discuss that in our time. The other thing that comes up is there's a bunch of anxiety built around that because people think that if they're not doing a conventional loan, if they're doing an FHA or a VA loan, that they're just going to lose.
Yeah.
And we have taken a lot of time to make sure that we have different techniques to present those offers.
Yeah, and out of obviously I work with multiple agents because that's where I get my business from. But out of all of the agents that I work with, Leslie is so specific in strategies and communicating with her clients and exactly what their options are and what they need to do. And I just love that about you, Leslie, because that's really kind of a hard thing for anybody that has to help people make a decision is you have to clarify all those strategies and what they need to do or what they have to do, but then really be able to put in there the benefits and the disadvantages so that you know what option's going to be the best option for them, but you're letting them know all the information so that they're coming to that conclusion for themselves and they understand why. So I just think that's just really brilliant in how you put that process together.
Well, I think it's also, it helps build the relationship that we are going to need to have.
Of course.
Because a lot of times you can get into some sticky situations like you and I are in one right now.
We are right now. 60,000 low on a property is yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, so because I built that relationship up front,
yes,
my client is definitely leaning on every word I have to say.
Exactly.
Because he trusts me.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
I love how she says the relationship that we need to have, because that's so true. I mean, you're going to get into this, and you're a team. You guys are together, and you're trying to strategize as a group that's going to consult them
yes.
to make the right decisions and
Absolutely.
a put together expert team, and you got to have faith on them. And it's, being that established. I know Tina's process because I use the same one. So I know these people are going in confident, and, with you as well. That's a huge, important, impactful tool that has to happen. So
Thank you for that.
Considering now we've gone through kind of our buyer session and we're all teed up,
Yeah.
What happens now? What are the next step after your buyer counseling session?
Well, like I said, depending on where we are in the pre-approval process, we go ahead and firm that up because I think it's very important for them to know what their buying power is. We then meet for a second time to familiarize them with what an offer actually looks like. We have a 5-page boilerplate offer, but then there's all these addendums that you can use as tools to win in multiple offer situations. And so that kind of continues that conversation. And then when we start looking for properties, I don't want it to be the first time that they've seen a contract. I mean, this is a very long, lengthy document that maybe they want to have their attorney look at if they have any questions about it. So I think that that's very important to press the pause button one more time before you look at properties.
Instead of saying you have 2 hours to sign this or you're going to lose out on the home.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then they've never even looked at it.
They've never seen it.
Trust me, just sign it.
Yeah.
No way.
Yes.
That's a really big decision to just, take lightly. So like I said, when we look at properties, you're probably going to find one, right? And you don't want that to be the first time they looked at it.
I don't think we've ever had an agent say that on the show.
No, we haven't.
No.
Yeah,
I love being first.
Yeah.
That's super
And
smart.
I don't think a lot of agents do that, and it's really just prepared. This is what it's going to look like. This is what you're going to sign. Let's go through this. Ask me any questions so we can have clarification. Then you find your perfect home and you're ready to go. So definitely our approach is similar, Leslie, and that's why we get along so well.
Yes.
What other things are you going over with your buyers to make sure that they're ready for what's coming up next?
Well, I think it's important to teach a buyer how to view a property. When you first walk in, when you decide to purchase a property, unless you're an investor that's buying property after property after property, most of the time it's an emotional decision. You walk in and you're like, oh, I like the light. I like the windows. This is I love the way I feel.
I love the smell of the cookies
right.
in here.
But after that, after we decide, what do you like about the property? What do you not like about the property? I don't want a buyer to ever feel rushed through a showing. And so I try to teach them how to view a property. So after that initial showing, we kind of back up and look at it again. Then we start looking at the ceiling seams. We start looking at, is the carpet in good condition? Because we're doing our second showing now because we might not be able to come back.
Yes.
So let's run the sink. Let's look at the water pressure. Let's, look at the quality of construction, et cetera. So I think that all of my buyers know that that's exactly what I'm going to ask them when we go into a property.
Yeah.
It just shows their attention to detail and ensuring you have the best interest of your buyers. That's fantastic.
And having a really dialed in system to make sure that everything is covered and not going to get missed in the process.
Yeah, not here it is. You like it? Great. Put an offer in. You know what I mean? Like, is this really in your, but you look at everything.
Well, I want them to like me in 5 years.
That's good. It's kind of important. I would agree. I feel the same way. So you mentioned earlier, Leslie, about discussing strategy with your buyer. Can you elaborate on that a little bit about the strategy?
Yes. I believe you have to be very strategic to maximize your buying power. A lot of listing agents out there have a lot of different strategies when they're listing a property. So it really matters what I think the property is worth, not what it's listed for. So I will do an analysis of my own as if I was listing the property. So I will tell my buyer, if I were to list this property, this is how I would list it, and this is what I think it's worth. And that kind of helps them wrap their head around the fact that there is another agent on the other side that had a strategy, and their strategy is to get the most money for their client.
Yeah.
My strategy is to get the best deal for my client.
Yeah.
So bridging that psychology really helps them understand how to really win in a multiple offer situation.
Yes. And with a buyer, Leslie, after a mutual acceptance, what tips do you give them through that process? Here's what's going to happen. As soon as your offer is accepted, we've got a signed contract and we're ready to go. Then what tips do you give them?
Well, I just kind of remind them that they did choose me as their advocate. Right? And so we've gone through an emotional roller coaster at this point. And once we go into mutual acceptance, we have a lot of work to do. And I just, I remind them that listen to what the advice that I give you and the schedule that we have, and make sure that you do everything that you're supposed to do to make it to the closing table.
So, Leslie, as we wrap up things here, I mean, your track record speaks for itself. And, again, that's why I love, working with you, and we work so much together. So let's talk about how you've been able to negotiate terms and seller coverages that have been unheard of in this market.
Well, I will tell you that I do love that you do the 5 columns of the different loan options because it helps me as a realtor know what I'm working with. Because once our clients choose a loan option with you, then I know what I can get covered.
Yes.
And I've mentioned it before, but I just, there's a psychology that goes behind the art of negotiation and being certified in negotiation. I really, most of my CE is done in negotiation because I just really love that part of my job. And the second that you hear a twinge in someone's voice on the other line, and you think you can maybe ask for something, you should ask.
Yes.
Because they want to sell their house.
Yes.
And your buyer wants to buy the house.
Yeah.
So what is the magic combination that we're going to come to?
Yeah. And so the magic is asking, going in with confidence that it's okay to ask.
Correct.
And really strategizing and finding out what's happening in that place. And I love how you'd mentioned you just kind of listen to how they're communicating on the other side. And if they don't have that confidence level, that means that there's probably some room in there for some negotiation. So, Leslie is definitely amazing what she does. And if you want to connect with her and find out how you can get the best terms as a buyer or get the best terms if you're selling, because she does wear both of those hats, you can call the show at 1-8, not at the same time, separate times. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online at themoneyera.com. Leslie, again, thank you so much for coming back in studio, and thanks for being my friend.
You're welcome. Thank you for the support.
Yeah. And this is your host, Tina Mitchell. We're signing off for the day.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We'll be here same time, same place next weekend right here at 1150 AM KKNW. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, and MLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC.